Hi, my name is Stefan Glasmacher. I'm an M&A attorney in Germany with Zeitz. We are advising clients on all kinds of M&A transactions and venture capital deals with a certain international focus. In M&A transactions, the general concept of liability and duties for disclosure, they circle back to what we negotiate in M&A contracts, mainly the SPA. So these normally provide for a robust contractual framework where we actually look at certain provisions, whereas sellers normally have to disclose certain items the buyers ask for. And the buyers, they have to be aware of that these will be held against them if it comes to liability and disclosures. So if you want to break it down, normally it's like sellers, they give you all the information the buyer asks for. Looking at international M&A transactions, if we deal with international and especially US clients, normally they are looking for a more robust concept of liabilities and indemnities. Normally the deal feels a little bit far more away for them. So actually they ask for robust provisions in that regard. And the liability concept in the US normally really goes down to very narrow and very detailed concept of liabilities and indemnities. Whereas in Europe, buyers generally are much more relaxed about the liability concept as they accept that they are acquiring an ongoing business. If we look at that certain decision of the BGH, the Bundesgerichtshof, that's actually Germany's Supreme Court for civil cases. So actually it did change the system, which we thought would be very traditional, that the court holds that certain case that it shall not be sufficient that a seller discloses all information in the data room per se, but it also has to proactively inform a buyer on certain items that could be of potential interest for the purchase price. So we think that ruling is quite significant in terms that it changes a very traditional system, whereas the buyers are normally responsible for themselves to do due diligence and to be prepared in order to what target they are buying. And that traditional system is somehow changed by that ruling because the sellers are now obliged actually to disclose more information and help the buyer to navigate through the information they're giving. And actually, we think that is mainly based on three principles. So first of all, the seller, they have to see if and how they help a buyer to navigate through due diligence. And they have to care about them. That's actually a second pillar, that the seller, they have to ask the buyer whether they have any experience in M&A, who are your advisors? These are typical questions we now raise from a seller's perspective. And at the end, the seller, they have also put some diligence on how do they disclose information. And in that regard, a professional data room could be very helpful. Actually, what they have to do is they have to care more about a buyer. So in the old world, they could just throw tons of information over the fence. Whereas now, actually, the seller, they have to tick off certain boxes where we give our clients a list where we're going to ask them, is a buyer advised? Who advises them? Do they have any kind of experience in M&A transactions? How is the data room structured? So these are points we want to win in order at the end to help reducing their liability, and that's what it goes back to in M&A transaction from a seller's perspective, to get a purchase price and reduce liability from a very robust concept. Data room providers, they could add a lot of benefit in that regard because the court holds that data rooms have to be structured in a very easy way that a buyer can easily navigate through information and documents, that they are notified that new information or documents have been uploaded. They could add benefit by navigating the buyer through new documents. They notify a buyer, they show them the way to new documents. They say, new information popped up in a data room, and that helps actually to proactively advise and help a buyer to navigate through documents and information. And at the end, that will also help the seller to reduce liability on his end.